Yo, what's going on, guys? Crispy Flakes here. Welcome to Extra Crispy. For today's video, we are reacting to an article by Bleacher Report titled, "One Question Still Haunting Every NBA Team." So you guys let me know in the comment section below, like, what is one question you have going into next season about your favorite team? Like, is there something that's just, like, really bothering you? We're going to go through this real quick here, and then I'm going to, like, give you guys my thoughts and opinions and try to, like, answer some of these questions, right? So I would say, as a Piston fan, my biggest concern is, will the Killian Hayes and Cade Cunningham backcourt like work and be the most optimal backcourt going forward, or is it something we're just going to try to like make the most of? You know what I'm saying? So that's all kind of interesting with me. But let's go and get going on this, man. We have the Atlanta Hawks. Where will the scoring come from when Trae Young sits? I mean, to be quite honest, I think the Hawks have a very good balanced scoring team. I love John Collins, the basketball, Bogdan, DeAndre Hunter can be like a 15-point per game scorer if he can stay relatively healthy for this season. Click play, you can dump it inside him and everything. You got guys like Gallinari on the team. I like some of the rookies they brought in, so I think that will probably be okay. But yeah, you want that guy that can be like the consistent person. Plus, don't they have Lou Williams? One of the greatest six-man of all time? I think they'll be okay, man. Next up, we do have the Boston Celtics. Can the offense get humming? So it's going to be interesting, man. I'm really curious to see how Dennis Schroeder kind of like fits into things. I do think now having the point guard spot being Schroeder and also Marcus Smart, and just knowing that like that position is not being asked to be like a go-to scorer like you might have had with like Kyrie or Kemba, it's going to allow a lot more just responsibility to be taken by Jalen and Jason. So that's going to be nice to see. I think Robert Williams is going to be kind of interesting on the inside too. So I think they'll be okay, man. I think they'll be okay. Next up, we do have the Brooklyn Nets. Who's closing finals games at center? Oh, yes. It really depends how you're playing, who you're playing against. It really depends on who you're playing against. I mean, think what you want about Blake Griffin. Like, he can still knock down the shot. He can still be a little bit of a hustle guy on the inside, make some nice passes, handle the basketball. But, yeah, they really, man, like this team desperately needs like that 3-and-D type of center, like a Myles Turner, somebody like that would be absolutely perfect. Even get like a Dwayne Dedmon, just somebody that won't be like a liability against other centers defensively. Next up, we do have the Charlotte Hornets. Are there enough shooters left? I think so. I like Booknight, who they just brought in. Gordon Hayward can knock it down. LaMelo can be streaky, can make him. PJ Washington's fine there. Maybe a little bit of a learning curve off the bench with some of the dudes, but I think it should be okay. I guess they did lose like Malik and also Devontae, who are both great shooters, right? Relatively speaking. Chicago Bulls, is it still success with standards this low? I think sometimes it's okay to just accept that you want to have a good, fun basketball team, because especially when you're a team like the Chicago Bulls, who have such a great history, you never know what that could lead to. You never know going into an offseason what superstar might want to, join up with things. So I do think having standards next season of just being like a good, respectable basketball team, giving a good product, I think that's okay. Winning championships are tough. The expectations of doing that too and what it takes to do that, it all starts somewhere. So I think it's okay, man. I think it's okay just to want your basketball team to be fun to watch. Next up, we do have the Cleveland Cavaliers. How much spending on youth is too much? I guess like contract-wise, well, I would say it comes bound down to be too much, where you sign Jared Allen and you have Evan Mobley and Kevin Love gets paid a lot of money, and then you go up and get Laurie Mark, a little bit of a confusion right there. But a lot of these contracts, though, it's like the worst part about it is, when you have too many young guys and you give, like Laurie Markkanen's not going to be starting. So how is he supposed to live up to his contract if he's not giving enough minutes to do so? Or even with Kevin Love, like, they're never going to be able to, like, get anything for him if he's not given the time, man. So, and I know he's not a young player, but I'm just saying, like, it could be a little dangerous overspending for bench players or guys that you plan on being part of your bench. So, we'll see. Next up, we do have the Dallas Mavericks. Where's Luka Doncic's help? His name is Kristaps Porzingis and Tim Hardaway, because that's all the Dallas Mavericks managed to do, man. Was not happy with their offseason whatsoever, I just was not. They got Reggie Bullocks. So, yeah. I mean, it's going to be a lot of Luka carrying the load again and seeing where things go with that. Next up, we have the Denver Nuggets. What's the point anyway? Wait, sorry if this is a little bleeding, as this is not as well. On Denver, the Nuggets are in prime MVP Jokic, not mentioned, blah, blah, blah. Michael Porter stardom, blah, blah, blah. Murray torn ACL. It says they're being fringe contenders. I mean, Jamal Murray's a near all-star caliber point guard. Jokic was MVP. Michael Porter could have won Most Improved Player. Was definitely up there for it. So, I mean, I think that's the point, is getting your near all-star point guard back on your team, I guess, right? Like, what's the disrespect towards Denver? Next up, Detroit Pistons. How does Killian Hayes fit into the Cade Cunningham era? Yes, this one's 100% accurate. I still think it could work. I really think it could work. It just isn't going to be optimal because, the big thing is that I do think Killian and Cade are both great playmakers, and they're both guys that you want the ball in their hands, So it's going to come down to both these guys learning to not only play off ball, but also when that is happening for it to still be optimal, because you don't want to get the least out of a player because you're trying to incorporate them into the offense a certain way. So, yeah, it's going to come down a lot to that. It's going to be interesting to watch. It's going to be fun to watch. It could go either way, in my opinion. We got the Golden State Warriors. Should they have traded for a star? I don't think so. I think what they have is perfect. You have stars. You have Klay Thompson. You have Steph Curry. You have Andrew Wiggins, who had his best statistical season, in my opinion, not only offensively but also defense. You have Draymond Green, who excels as this glue guy in this type of role that he's been part of the system for years. You have James Wiseman, who's a top pick, who could make a big jump right there, too. I don't think they needed to trade for a star. I think the chemistry is there with the team, and they have enough there already. Next up, we have Houston Rockets. When's the right time to rip off the Band-Aid? I mean, I guess that was kind of what they did with James Harden, right? So, I don't know. I don't think it's so much of a Band-Aid as it's like, what do you do with John Wall there? Like, do you want to out his contracts, or do you want to hope that you just... That's a good question, man. That is a good... I don't really know how to answer. I really don't. I don't. We got the Pacers. Will Myles Turner and Domantas Sabonis play together forever? I do think they're going to give one season. I think they're going to see what happens this season. If people can stay healthy, how Rick Carlisle handles the squad, and then you go from there. Because they do have a lot of talent on that team. Maybe the coaching has been the greatest in the past few years. There's a new chance at that now. So maybe the skill's all there. Just the coach can put it together now, right? So we'll see one more season of this at least, in my opinion. At least till the trade deadline. For the Clippers, is last year's shooting sustainable? It better be if y'all don't got Kawhi Leonard for most of the season, if the entire season. You got Luke Kennard, he's a top 3-point shooter in the NBA. Paul George might have an MVP caliber season. Marcus, Reggie, all those guys can knock it down, man. So, I don't know. We'll see. It says they were the most efficient 3-point shooting season of their career. Okay. Huh. Oh, everyone who suited up. That's interesting to think about, really. Wow. Okay. Lakers, was trading for Russell Westbrook a mistake? No, it wasn't, because it was a slow offseason. There wasn't a lot of big names going around anyway, and what you gave up to get him was stuff that you could have done without anyway. It wasn't a mistake. No, I don't think trading for a guy that can, Russell's so interesting, man. It's always such an interesting discussion. My TLDR is no, I do not think it was a mistake. Memphis Grizzlies, can you be too patient? It's not so much patience, it's just like realizing all the talent players in the NBA, realizing your product, sticking with it, and not being patient, but just kind of realizing the process that goes along. I mean, if you trade for a big name superstar, that can catapult you into like a new type of realm. But when you do a rebuild, it's all about coming together. But not only that, a little bit of luck and a little bit of just time of waiting for other teams to get bad and go into that rebuild mode themselves. So, yeah, I don't think it's really a note of being patient. I think it's just kind of the process they have to deal with. Next up with the Miami Heat, does the future matter at all? It will when the future comes. It will when the future comes. They definitely paid, to be good right now, and they're going to be good right now. But 5 years down the road, it's going to be some rough watch for them. It really is. Now, being the Miami Heat, a lot of that maybe can turn that around. That probably be a genius. I think it's going to be around that time as far as the really being a big part of the franchise and everything. But money-wise, it's going to be interesting, man. It's going to be interesting. I guess the good thing is, I don't know. I was not a big fan of the extension for Jimmy Butler, man. I really wasn't. Because sometimes those extensions aren't bad because, the thing is down the road, that money's not going to look as expensive due to cap inflation. The issue is that he still has 2 years on his regular deal. So a lot of that, I don't know, man. I don't know. We'll see. Milwaukee Bucks. Are we going to miss PJ Tucker? I think they'd be okay. Minnesota Timberwolves. Who's going to prop up the defense? That's been the question for years. I think it's going to end up being Ben Simmons. New Orleans Pelicans. Is Zion Williamson happy? I don't think so. I don't think it was a fluke, some of the stuff we heard last season. I think he's going to kind of go with the flow for right now and see what happens. But also don't be surprised if down the road he goes to a different team. Like, we can't be surprised by that. I don't think the Pelicans are doing the best of their ability of giving him the right talent. For whatever reason that is. They could have done better this offseason. But also, you're dealt with the cards, all your eggs in one basket. If that makes sense. Really think about that. Next up, we got the Knicks. Why didn't we do this before? What do you mean? Let me read this before. Currently have 7 players in the roster making 9. Phil Jackson wasn't the greatest for this team. He was kind of checked out the day he signed up for the job. I think what the Knicks' issue was that, they didn't want to, because the New York Knicks are a big market team. So it's easy to really get impatient and want to go all in and try to get these superstars. But when the management's not great, and you clean house and you finally do a rebuild properly, it's like, I don't think it's, why did we do this before? It's like, why didn't we do this sooner? Like, why didn't we clean house sooner and get better there? Because this team has done a phenomenal job rebuilding correctly, man. I love watching it. It's been a beautiful thing to see with the Knicks doing this, and not just well, and especially because they got roasted so much for not getting, Cade and Zion and Kyrie that one off season. So, yeah, man. I love what they're doing over there. I got big respect to the franchise right now. Really do. Next up, we got the OKC Thunder. Why trade away the chance at Alperen Sengun? Hindsight is 90-70. Before Summer League, he looked like a dude that was going to get drafted and might be a little ways away. And then he got drafted. It's like, no, he's actually fitting pretty nice in the Summer League. It's just, you don't really know that stuff until you see guys play. You can't think about things that you haven't seen. So, yeah. Next up, we got the Magic. Is there enough veteran leadership? Not really, because even their veterans don't play that much because they've had so many injuries. Isaac and Markelle Fultz. Those guys have been around for a little while now, and they just haven't. So, no, there's not really a lot of veteran leadership. It's going to be some rough waters for the Magic, but they'll get there in time. Next up, we got the 76ers. What's coming back in the eventual Ben Simmons trade? It's going to be a 3-team trade. I don't know who that third team is. Yeah, I was hearing talks of the Hawks. But it's probably going to be a whole bunch of just, nice assets going to the 76ers. I would have to guess, man. Like a Malik Beasley or, a Cam Reddish. And maybe another big name is thrown in there. I don't really know who yet, though. So, it all remains to be seen. I don't think the package is going to be what 76ers fans want. But it's going to be what they're going to get at this point. Phoenix Suns. 1 wing defender short. I don't think so. I think they'll be. I think they're fine. I guess. I guess maybe they could deal with getting maybe some more depth from the wing position for their bench or something, I suppose. But I think they'll be okay. Not really a big question for me. Portland Trailblazers. Have we done enough? No, you have not. You are just buying time with Damian at this point. No, they have not done enough. They haven't. It was a bad offseason. And I know Portland Trailblazers fans will bring up Larry Nance. I'm sorry, man. That's not keeping Damian around. He's gonna go with he's gonna go with the flow, see how things go. Maybe they have a really good start to the season. I don't really know, man. But they did not do enough. But you still have Damian, so things can still happen. So yes, we have the Sacramento Kings. Should De'Aaron Fox and Tyrese Haliburton be untouchable? I would not trade De'Aaron Fox. Tyrese Haliburton. I love his game too. The only concern I have is you also have Davion Mitchell. So what do you do with that? What do you do with that? If there's an opportunity to trade for a superstar, do you give up one of those 3 guys? Just because you have so much of a good thing that you need to expand elsewhere with your roster. We got the Spurs. How much will Patty Mills' absence matter? Not so much, because the Spurs are in a place where they're not going to be competing for championships or probably not making the playoffs or nothing like that. So yeah, if anything, it's going to make them a worse team, which is good for a rebuild. So, yeah, more opportunity for other guys to play, too. Toronto Raptors. Should Kyle Lowry still be here? No, I think it was okay to move on. I still will say, as good as I think Scotty Barnes is going to be, I'm still completely shocked by, Jalen Suggs not being on part of the team. I really am. I really thought he was going to be on the Raptors. But also, you got Fred VanVleet who can play point guard completely fine, and Gary Trent. So, yeah, I think it was time to move on. It's okay to do so. Utah Jazz. Where are the stoppers? Rudy Gobert. Joe Ingles is fine. Probably a little bit slower these days. I like Royce O'Neal quite a bit. Hassan Whiteside, statistically not a great defender, but can still block some shots. Yeah, I think that'll be okay. Washington Wizards. When are you trading Bradley Beal? I think they want to maybe see how he does being the focus point of the offense, because the Wizards were a good team when Russell and Beal were not in the game together. So now that they have Beal surrounded by all these other new guys, could be interesting, man. I don't think it's gonna be this season. I think they're gonna see how the season goes. Maybe they surprise people, man. They could be a surprising team. They really could. So yes, that's all we have for this video. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Were these your questions, or did you have some additional questions? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching, guys, and peace out, my friends.